This is episode 5. I appreciate you guys for even checking all this the podcast stuff out. I'm here with 3 special guests. I'm glad to have them on board. Different specialties as well. So yeah, let's start like down the line. Let's start with lunchtime. Why don't you go introduce yourself, man?
What's good, everybody? My name is Jake, or Lunchtime. I play way too much ranked play, so this is a good time to be talking to me. Stream, do YouTube, all that type of stuff. So,
Okay. All right, Aaron.
Awesome. I'm Erin. Some of y'all know me as the Blonde Broker on social media. So I'm a content creator and streamer, but my main field is finance. So I'm in the crypto and trad market area, a little bit of Web3 gaming, but I also have a Call of Duty background. So happy to be a content creator. I'm also helping lead marketing for SGP. So happy to be here.
Yep. Thank you. Yep.
Fancy. You got a bunch of fancy people over here. I'm Iholdshift. I'm Alan. You may know me as guy who yells into microphone. I'll be doing that a lot. Also, I just noticed that my microphone just like decided to be SGP pink today.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Let's
it
go.
is, a little bit of bless up on just the blending of the mantra and like the brands here. Happy to have that. So all things positive. Let's do this.
All right, man. Yep, let's do this. So first thing we're gonna talk about is Ray and Jake's wheelhouse. Like you said, they released details of rank play. There was like a notes there. I don't know if you guys saw that one there. I don't have it on the screen, but yeah, I mean rank play is coming out November 21st. There's one thing that I do remember that they were talking about, which was the new squad system, right? So like now it doesn't matter if you guys are in a certain rank. You guys could be, you could be a bronze to iridescent and still play as a squad of 4, which is kind of crazy to see. Something I've never seen before. Also, there's a ricochet system that just released from the time of this recording to where um basically you have to win 50 public matches, multiplayer matches in order to be able to play rank in the first place. So they're trying to hone down on the cheating system. So yeah, Jake, why don't we get started, man? What do you think about the new rank play system and all that?
yeah, so the everything matchmaking, I feel like is a change in the right direction. It actually in Cold War, the way that league play worked there, you could queue up with anybody that you wanted to, but the difference now is that does impact the matchmaking in a way that it takes into account the highest rank in the lobby, and that's who you play against, rather than in Cold War, if you were a master who queued up with a bronze or whatever the lowest was, it would kind of find the in between for those. I think this is a good way to make sure that you can play with whoever you want to play with without that being kind of abusing the matchmaking system like people could have done in Cold War. So I think it's a good change. Like, as somebody who, like, a lot of friends that I want to play with, I haven't been able to for a while, simply because they have to get up to Crimson before they can play with me or something like that. So I think it's a good change in that regard.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of that as a just kind of a casual player. I'm not able or haven't been able to play with my friends that are all pro players in ranked play. So for me, this will be good. So opposite of you, Jake, I would like to play with you guys. And yeah, this will be cool to allow that, even if I'm gonna get shit on, it's okay.
No, preach, girlfriend. Legitimately, like, as a CDL caster, I play with a bunch of former CDL pros. Like, my duo
Yes.
legitimately was a step away from winning a world championship.
Mhm.
How am I supposed to play with my friends as I'm sitting down here mid gold and he's up there doing crimson stuff? It's not fun. I want to play with my friends, and I like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, and I'm glad they're adding that. And it looks like these guys, developers, are definitely caring about what everyone else is talking about. I mean, or what they want to see from rank play and all that. And here we go. We're gonna segue into this next part. It's the season 1, right? November 14th. Different things. We got Hacienda back, and um, as a lot of the comp players have been saying, maps have not been the greatest so far with the game. So everything else is good, gameplay is good and all that, but like, and the spawn systems, they're also changing too, which was something that a lot of top AMs were talking about as well. But getting these new changes for the maps, you got multiplayer maps are adding in. You got Warzone coming back, right, which is awesome. The new Urzikstan, if I said that right. And then yeah, Hacienda, like, hopefully you could bring in maps from before, like Black Ops 4 and all of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
your guys' thoughts on like the new update and the maps and stuff coming in.
Hacienda's immediately into the competition rotation for both hardpoint and search. Control,
I hope so.
maybe. Like it's legitimately like they played Control for a little bit in COD Mobile on Hacienda. Not terrible, not ideal, not terrible. Obviously, we didn't play it during the Black Ops 4 year on Control, but beggars can't be choosers when it comes to Control in general. When it comes to decent maps, so I'm pumped to see Hacienda. I think it's one of the most unspoken best maps we've had in the last 8 years. So I'm pumped for it.
I actually sent you a picture. I don't know if you can check it from your DMs or even add it to the document, but
sure.
You've probably seen it before. A lot of people are memeing about it. How Modern Warfare 2's Season 1 in comparison to Black Ops 6's Season 1, in terms of the content that we're getting, it's just an unreal difference that we're seeing now. So as just a player and a fan of Call of Duty, I think it's a really good year for us, at least as starters for Season 1. And even with Hacienda, talking about it being in the comp rotation, I normally am not too excited about remastered maps or throwback maps, but Hacienda, I'm so there for. I honestly have my fingers crossed for Arsenal. I feel like Arsenal would play really well later down the road in BO6. If that could be added, that would be amazing. But I think we're in for a good year.
What do you guys think we're gonna see operator skin wise this season?
I'm not gonna lie, I could care less.
You don't play Warzone?
Gameplay on good maps. I don't care what I look like. I just want to run around and shoot things.
That's hilarious.
Fair. That's fair. Fair take.
Yeah. No, yeah.
I'm literally waiting for tomorrow just to buy a pink gun or a pink operator skin.
Yeah,
there's rumors of a Master Chief or a Halo crossover.
Whoa.
With Call of Duty.
Oh yeah. Wow.
I don't know if there's any substance to those rumors, but I mean, that'd be pretty cool. That's something I would buy.
That would be cool. That's like Fortnite when you just start adding all these different characters and beloved characters from all around. Also there's another thing that I missed out too from the besides the new zombies, which I mean zombies have been a lot of fun this time around. I think this is one of the best zombies I've played so far. The Krig and the SOG, I think that'll probably be added into the rotation for guns as well. It'd be cool to see the Krig and SOG make a comeback with the comp stuff. So yeah. We'll just keep this one pushing. Let's see. All right, yeah. Next that's to talk about is the season schedule. Daniel say, they released a video talking about new changes that are coming up. And the majors 1, 2, 3, and champs were announced in the video along with other details as well. So yeah, your guys' thoughts on, the new majors and stuff like that.
Where's Atlanta? That's my question.
Dude, they ran an event in Atlanta back during the first Modern Warfare revamp back in 2019, 2020 year. And it did not do well. It just didn't, no one came to it. It was really, really bizarre. And I think that left a really sour taste in Atlanta FaZe's kind of mouths about running events. Because it's expensive to run events in Atlanta.
Yeah.
There's the space that would be available. You're looking the Cobb Energy Center, not cheap. There's just not that same event arena space that you kind of saw from Champs, where you were in Allen, Texas with some minor league hockey team. You don't really have many spaces like that in Atlanta. I think is the biggest issue. I'm sure there are, but unless you're going to go on the campus of Georgia Tech, or you're going to go to the Cobb Energy Center, there's not a lot of spaces in Atlanta that I think could facilitate an event for cheap. It's kind of the same thing New York, great event at that theater, but King's Theater was massively expensive. So it's just tough to run events like that in some of the major cities sometimes.
I appreciate you saying that, because I was at that event in Atlanta right before COVID hit, and I had always wondered why we never got another one, just because I'm local to that area.
Yeah.
So thank you for enlightening me.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
But still, I think to be said, with how popular Atlanta is and how popular FaZe is, it just doesn't make much sense that brand would not have more events. Even on top of what you said, of course, I know it might not make sense, but when you look at these organizations that constantly run the events, always there's an Optic, always there's something with Ultra. Even Heretics have snuck their way in there. What, 2 or is it 3 years back to back, or just 2?
2 years.
2 years. It's just weird not seeing FaZe in the mix,
Yeah, especially with Toronto technically running 2 events this year.
Mhm.
They're the one running the event in Madrid, plus they also are the home hosts for champs. So it's it's crazy to think that you have some teams that have found a way to build like an organic like local fan base that you're going to get good turnout for. So
Mhm.
much so that they can actually run 2 events. It's pretty impressive.
Do we know what that looks like from a, I don't know, like the organization standpoint? How exactly is Toronto hosting the event all the way out for Major One?
I think it's probably just operational. Like they're
Okay.
probably their management group is probably the group that's in charge of locking down the logistics and the bookings and the things of that nature. So I have no idea what it looks like in terms of like, are they just outsourcing to a local staff in Spain to help facilitate that? I have absolutely no idea. It's going to be interesting,
Hmm.
to say the least.
And they
Yeah.
just changed locations, correct?
Mm-hmm.
From Barcelona to Madrid.
No.
Well, rumors were Barcelona, yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Koi is who works with Toronto, and they're pretty big and massive, and they're based off of in Spain. So yeah, I think that's how they're able to make it work. And it was something that we talked about in the previous episodes before, which was like, people wondered why was Toronto the major one host when you had the Heretics, and then you have Heretics over in Florida. But now we know why, and they explained all of that in the announcement. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And again, Toronto for champs. I think everyone's pretty happy about that. Every time you go to Toronto Major is always great. They always run it well, and Toronto's a great city as well. So I think we're all pretty happy about champs being in Toronto this time around. And
Mhm.
also, they announced that EWC is coming back. I mean, I'm glad about that, especially for orgs. They're trying to get in the scene like SGP. I mean, EWC is a great way to capitalize off of that. So it's good seeing that EWC is coming back. And there's a face there, Aaron. That yeah, I'm pretty sure you're pretty happy, and he's pretty happy that he's on there. He called it quote unquote the Big Four. So yeah. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about, Succeed. So yeah, I mean he's there. He's in the picture. So yeah.
Very proud.
Where are you guys saw some EWC though? I mean, are you guys happy that it's coming back for yeah, for next year with Call of Duty?
8-month season is, I think, the first big W. This is one of the longest standing like esports circuits now, with December all the way through what could be like August. We love that, absolutely love that. Saudi Arabia was cool last year. I think the thing that people had gripes about, obviously the controversy around the country and the event itself. That's kind of withstanding. But I think the only controversial point was people who didn't feel great about single elimination for an event like that. But obviously, I'm sure we're going to talk about it. The minor system that's being added into the year this year is going to get teams kind of more familiar with what a single elimination bracket will feel like in competitive situations. So I do think that this makes it feel more like a thread is tying together the whole year, rather than here's 7 months worth of double elimination, majors, a world championship, and then here's this standalone event for $1.8 million in Saudi Arabia. I think
Yeah.
having these single elimination minors is going to make this feel like another kind of pinnacle to the season. Again, it will feel a bit odd because it's going to come right after World Champs again. But I think just considering the event itself is as big as it is, I think it's only going to get bigger. It's cool to see Black Ops 6 is the first game actually officially set up for next year in Riyadh.
No, no. And like you alluded to, you have the minors. I mean, how do you guys feel about, the new minors? There's gonna be two minors, one for Major One and one for Major Two, and that's about it. But are you guys a fan? Especially Jake, I know you played tournaments. You played in two tournaments. In the off season before games coming out. Single elimination with 12 teams, and I think they're spacing it out over 4 days, from what I've heard. So,
Mm.
how do you feel about that aspect for the tournament?
I mean, it kind of brings you back to the old like 2Ks, right? Is that kind of the vibe that they're going for with these? I
Most
think
likely.
I don't know what this looks like from a team standpoint, if they're able to stream this on their personal streams, or if this is something that goes through like the official CDL broadcaster or whatever. But kind of going back to that old school feel and the excitement of staying up way too late watching online matches. I think it's a good change. The more matches, the better. And if they're able to add incentives like pro points or any sort of like money incentive for the players, I think that's a W change.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I was
I-
gonna say, I think the thing that just for clarity, I think it's a 3-day event. All of
3
it
day.
will be on the CDL broadcast.
Okay.
At least that's what the announcement made it sound like. I don't want to say too much. Try to, cover my bases over here. I
Yeah.
think the thing about this is I love the idea of trying to bring more scalable importance to the regular season outside of just here's 3 to 4 weeks worth of online matches, and then we go to a place, we play a tournament, and then we're off for a week, we rinse, wash, repeat, do the same thing all over again. I think the thing that I worry about with this is that it will fall flat kind of in the same way that the money matches did back like during Cold War. I think we did it in Vanguard as well, where it's just like, hey, here's this regular season match and it's gonna be worth 10,000 extra dollars. Like it just didn't really land with the audience the way that it was intended to on paper. And I worry that this could fall victim to the same thing just because you're going to have a single elimination bracket. It's going to be seeded based on CDL standings. So, like, let's just throw that out to what happened last year. That means that FaZe is playing Boston every first round on Friday in a best of 5 single elimination bracket game. Like, those games are also not going to feel good. Like, it's just, yeah, you're going to get a great Sunday. I think that's the thing about it is you're going to have these matches that are going to be set up. Your top 4 are going to play each other in a single elim. You're going to have 2 winner semis and a grands. That'll feel cool. I worry that Friday and Saturday will kind of feel like Thursdays and Fridays do now for majors, where top seeds are just beating up on bottom seeds that just haven't quite figured it out, especially early on in the year. How many of those bottom 4 teams are plagued by continual roster mania moves throughout the first 3 months of the season? Like, they just can't figure out a formula that works. So that's my only worry. I love the idea, I love the attempt, I love the effort. I think it'll be fun, but I think it'll be really fun on Sunday.
Yeah.
Will challengers be able to participate in the minor?
No,
This is just the big teams. Okay.
Yeah, they're just the CDL teams as far as I know.
All right.
It'd be cool if they had like the top 4 placing teams from challengers fill in the bracket for the top 16. But I mean, you're dealing with your first stage, so to be in December. There will not have been an elite yet, and then for the second minor, you'll have 1 season of elite that had completed. So it's kind of hard, I think, to fit that in. It'd be nice if they could incorporate that like a pro-am style, though. Just to give the challenger teams a chance.
And like, yeah, I mean, I think they don't because it's the CDL points is tied to that, and I know like first place gets 20K as well, so like I get that, but I think they're just testing this thing out, and if it's successful, and that's why I'm praying it's successful, because the next title you could implement a pro-am online tournament, and if people complain about that, it'd be pretty stupid, but yeah, I mean it's your chance to actually, if this system works, implement pro-ams. And also what you said too about the seeding base, it's kind of unfair, now that I think about it. I didn't even think about that. Single elimination and the first seed has to play the 12 seed each time. I mean, that's not fair, in my opinion, without having a double elim or something like that. Spacing it over 3 days, I think they should change it to double elim, and hopefully, I don't know, it probably won't change this year, but it's something that they should look forward to. New update release stuff about the game, like the perks, like I guess slight reduction in ninja footstep for all you guys that like to maximize sound EQ or art of war, R is war, or something like that. Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're trying to stop that. And then also, something that you guys who play the game like understand a lot. There's a lot of VPNing because skill-based matchmaking is very brutal. That's a topic that I know a lot of people can talk about for days and days. So yeah, your guys' just thoughts on these new updates and Treyarch trying to like stop the whole boosting and stuff like that.
The VPN stuff was added in the section that had to do with ranked play, right? And cheating. Is that correct? Okay. I think, unless I'm mistaken, people would VPN to like get bot lobbies or like free lobbies and stuff like that. I think that's more intense than what you think of when you think of a VPN, where people are just getting easier skill-based matchmaking. I don't know the ins and outs of how that works, but the fact that they're addressing it is good, I guess. And then when we get to like footstep volume, dead silence, and all that, I don't know why they don't just completely get rid of it. The fact that they're slightly reducing it like means it's still going to make noise, meaning that loudness EQ will still work and the art of war, whatever, will still work. If what they want is quiet footsteps, they should just completely get rid of that. They could, if they wanted to, they could go Cold War style where like slides make noise. I'd be fine with that. Mantling stuff makes noise. I'd be fine with that. But some like having a weird in between where you're quiet but you're not quiet is just not really competitive in my opinion. On top of that, the fact that they didn't address the spectator audio not getting dead silence when you do in game is, I don't know. I wish that was something that they addressed. So they still have time to, but that's the one change I'd like to see going forward at least.
Okay. No.
Yeah. Hashtag make ninjas silent again. We should get that trending on Twitter.
Yeah,
that would be great.
Yeah.
I'll tweet that right now.
Love that out of you.
Okay. Few things left to talk about. One, you had the Kon Tournament, right? Pretty cool concept. They had four teams, 4 popular brands, play 50,000. Obviously, I think I've saw people say that it would have been cool to have seen all the CDL teams and just to have like that type of event. But I knew it took a lot of hard work and stuff just to even get to this point to where you're able to do this for Kason's end. So, yeah, I mean, your guys' thought on the tournament. Also, the 100 Thieves, they won. I mean, I watched the whole entire tournament.
Surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, big reverse sweep versus FaZe. Had Nate Shot literally calling Octane to warm up, one of those type things. But I think, this is a cool event. I love this. I think especially we're going to look back on this event a couple months down the road. I saw Easy Mac was kind of tweeting about it. Like, we don't have a launch event this year at all. In fact, this has been like the quietest year in terms of like CDL teams running launch events of any sort. So to be able to showcase what I think a lot of people are going to consider to be the top 4 teams in the game this year, right off the get-go, even if it's going to be on maps and modes we're not going to see down the road, really cool way to build out some early competitive hype. I think even more so, it's the fact that this LA Thieves team that we just weren't sure what we were going to get. Like, yeah, individually great players on paper. How are they going to fit together has been a lot of the conversation point. And for them to like bond together, reverse sweep phase, and then take the finals against your former world champs. Awesome. Super cool event. Love the idea of it. I thought the broadcast obviously had some technical difficulties. You're going to deal with that when it comes to a codcaster that has not been tested before. But overall, I thought the event was a major W. And I'd love to see more of that, leading up to the regular season down the road.
I fully agree. And I think what shows how much he cares for competitive Call of Duty is that this was a LAN event. Like, this didn't have to be.
Yeah, good point.
You could have just invited all teams to just play online or whatever. But the fact that there was a true broadcast, a stage, although like you said, they did have the technical difficulties, the fact that the time and effort went into making it a full event, a full broadcast was that was really cool to see, especially this early on in the year.
No, I wish I would have gone. I was jealous of the photos and the events afterwards that took place, but I think the production as far as the event went on was a phenomenal layout. Everybody thought the stage was stunning. So actually really proud of the team that won. They did a fantastic job. So really cool. I hope they continue to use that same venue going forward and maybe do some kickoff tourneys there.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, the venue was pretty good for an off-season event as well. It was pretty cool. So, yeah, and then we're gonna get into the announcements just for different rosters, and then that's pretty much like the end of this segment. You have Minnesota Rocker that was announced, with Geo, Paul X, Estriel, and Nero. And I thought the announcement video was pretty good. I mean, there were some people that told me like, oh, it was too short or whatever. But I mean, I thought the announcement was pretty good. It was fire. And this team, like I know for a fact, for my own sake, like if I were to build a CDL team, right, Estriel and Geo duo is a pretty good start, to do as well. So yeah, Rocker making a new change, and yeah, your guys' thoughts on this roster? You guys think this roster is going to do well this year, or?
I was surprised in some way to see them not try to lock in players like Linz after last year. Going down the more young gun route, although I don't know if we could really call Paul and Nero young guns anymore. But still, I would say kind of on the lesser of like stapled, experienced roster options. It is surprising to see them go down this route. It kind of has like an element of what Florida tried to do in Vanguard in a way, where it's like, here are these players that we know for a fact have fried in challengers. Let's see how they do together. But kind of watching a couple of scrims, they've played Optic pretty close in scrims. So I mean, they're definitely talented enough to hang. I think it's going to be down to who's going to step up and like lead this squad. I think the first I look to first and foremost is Paul. Just because he's been in a lot of different forms in the league, a couple of different teams. He's dealt with a number of different management groups. He's also been through everything you want to go through in terms of winning in challengers and things of the nature. So it'll be curious. I just want to see if Paul's got the ability to step up and be the quarterback for this squad. I also wouldn't be surprised to see Nero do that too. He's been, I think, more comfortable, more confident over the last year and change. I think he's really established himself as a mainstay CDL talent. So I think between those two, that's kind of who I'm looking at. But definitely, I think I'm curious to see how the leadership of this team is going to run, because that's what's going to get them, through, again, a long season with a group that I think people are looking at as kind of a maybe top 8 roster on paper.
I couldn't agree with you more after watching these guys. Some of them spent the last year in challengers. A lot of people have thought, they deserve a spot in the league, so it's finally nice to see them. This isn't the team I thought they would land on, but I am very excited to see this roster change. So I don't know, maybe Rocker's going to be a really good contender this year.
Are they playing from Minnesota, or where's their where will these players be based out of?
They were. I know the area. I think it is Minnesota. I don't know if they've moved to Dallas yet.
Okay. I wonder how much of an impact that's going to happen, especially with the minor tournaments, which are happening online, correct?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the move is a lot of these teams are going to Dallas and stationing there. So with a team like Rocker, which I know this roster is new, but like the organization as a whole has a history of not playing very well. I do wonder if, kind of that online difference is going to be something that we see happen, especially in a game like Black Ops 6, but time will tell.
That's a curious point. I think that, everyone is looking at the move to Texas as being kind of a no-brainer since most of the groups are already there. But it's weird because like Minnesota, previous to G2 acquiring the brand, was probably the most successful in terms of building like an endemic product to Minnesota. Like they were doing watch parties at bars.
That is true.
They were doing a lot of really cool stuff. I mean, in terms of building a local fan base. Now that's faltered in the last couple of years. We're not running events in Minnesota like we had been previously. But I'd be curious to see if they're still like keeping that as like an actual, business model in terms of trying to continue to build up a local product, or are we just the Minnesota Rocker owned by G2 playing out of Texas? I think that's
right.
the real question there.
Yeah. And also you talked about with like Minnesota, like it's tough. Like a lot of people are moving to Texas because, like I guess with internet and just having that central host and, more success for the online tournaments and stuff. And Vancouver, like I've heard from their side, it's like, it's kind of hard to play sometimes in these online matches because in this game, ping matters a lot, from what I've felt and experienced. So, if you got like a 70 to 90 ping or whatever, you're playing against someone with 5 ping in this game here, you're going to get zapped pretty bad. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if they stay in Minnesota or they make the change to Texas like everyone else is doing to get the advantage for online games. Finally, we're going to run through these pretty fast. The roster announcements, no biases here. I mean, SGP finally announced their roster. Hey, they announced their roster with, Exceed, Diamondcon, Fame, and Yuli with coaches Vios and Mayhem. I mean, to me, no biases as well. Two of the best coaches, one to two of the top coaches in the game. Vios, definitely deserves a CDL coaching as well as Mayhem as well. These guys have been proven, and hopefully, these guys get their shot in the league. So we'll just touch on that. If you guys want to comment about the SGP roster, definitely can. But it's I'm glad that I was able to get the announcement out there, and hopefully these guys do well, in challengers. So and
you got a good team there, bud. I'll tell you that much. You got 4 CDL players that should be on the CDL. I agree. Mayhem is by far the best challengers coach I've ever experienced. So I foresee many championships in your future.
All right.
Mayhem is still an insane player too. I watched him play. God, he's insane. Sergio, That would be y'all should 1v1.
I'm okay, man. I'm okay. I don't know. He's a former pro, so I've got to give him respect. I'm probably gonna get whooped there if I try to take him on. But they've been doing a lot of these player coaches challenges, so I might challenge him one time just to see like how it's like, just to see if I can get better. You also had the Challengers Cup as well that CDL Scrimintel did, and SGP had a strong run. No biases again. I mean, 16-2 map count is pretty insane throughout the
Pretty
whole
good.
entire tournament. Yep. So,
Pretty good.
and also, I mean, no surprises. I mean, a lot of the teams that made top four were teams that I thought would be in the running. The only surprising one was YFP, which if we go to, right, I mean, there is a roster change where Major Maniac replaced Dylan Rex on the team. So the FaZe Black trio switched up after the unofficial Challengers Cup. So now Major Maniac is with Bracket, Seam, and Yeez. But they finished top 6 in the unofficial Challengers Cup. And yeah, I mean, Hooks, Spark, Capsule, Prelude finished top 4. Not surprised, Major Maniac, Ranker, and Co. They finished third, and then you had Omit Brooklyn with Fellow and Co., which is a pretty strong team and one of the top S&D teams, I believe, right now. No surprise to see them there. So yeah, I mean, you had those changes. You also see on the screen that Ranker has started the scrim with Miami, and Vickle was subbed out for that. So that team that finished third place, I mean, maybe Ranker made an impact. So yeah, your guys' just thoughts on those two moves right there.
Challengers is loaded. Facts. That's all I could say. It's loaded.
Do we know where Rex went? Like, is he a free agent right now?
Yep. So if I pull this up on the screen here, yep, Rex and RCs are playing with Johnny or John Old and Standy right now.
Oh,
So
nice.
pretty
That's a good team
fire
too.
roster. Yep.
That is insane. Like these rosters sound like pro rosters.
Don't
Yeah.
they?
No, yeah, Challengers is so stacked. Like it's just. Challengers is so stacked. I hope we have great coverage this year. That's all I'm gonna say. Because wow, I want to watch all of it.
Yeah. One last roster announcement to go through was Katana from the EU side. Brezzy, he's not playing in the Pro League right now. He's in Challengers. He's playing with
Criminal.
That is Criminal. He's a pretty good player. Playing with Super, Vortex, and Cobra are all deserving to be in the CDL as well. These guys are EU powerhouses. So EU is loaded too, man. Like if you look at the EU rosters, I mean, this is going to be a good Challengers year for sure. So I mean, it's going to be exciting to watch. Yeah. Any comments on that roster? Or?
They're going to win everything in Europe. It's just, without question. It's just with all the other players that have either stepped away or just haven't taken it as seriously in Europe because it's just so hard to be a Challengers player in Europe right now. I just don't see these guys losing to many, if anyone, just based on what I'm hearing at the moment. This is a solid team. They've got everything you could possibly want. They've got the gun skill. Vortex and Super together is going to be wild. Brezzy and Cobra probably side by side running ARs this year, I imagine, is going to be interesting as well because they've both been flexing back and forth over the course of the last 2 years. But that team looks disgusting. I imagine they're probably going to destroy a lot of players. Who else is... You have the list right there. Other teams.
I'm pulling them up for you. That way you can see. So this is EU side. So these are teams in EU right now. You've got Mythics, Harry, Bance, and Denza. Vortex, the Vortex, Super, Cobra, Brezzy. Team Notorious has actually been winning a lot of the EU tournaments right now. It's Eric Boom, Rafi, Afro, and F Dot. So yeah, I mean I think it's gonna be a battle between the top 3, I'd say, for EU side. Yeah. So a lot of I mean, like we talked about the past episode, Eric Boom coming to Challengers again in the EU side, pretty interesting to see, and these guys have been gelling pretty well. But yeah, I mean, Katana squad pretty strong. Super, gave us troubles, SGP's troubles. We lost him twice in Toronto and Champ. So, and Brezzy Criminal that he's not there. So yeah. You have the EU battles, and just to show you guys here too, I mean, this is just the NA roster so far. That's completely loaded with a lot of good rosters, bunch of new changes. And I mean, we'll see. We'll see how Challengers pan out for that. But
holy crap. There are good teams legitimately all the way down to Dimension Squad. Like legitimately. Like, yeah, the top side of this sheet is disgusting, but like don't sleep on some of these young guns that are up and coming because wow, some of these guys are disgusting. I will say, looking at this European side of rosters, this is going to be a big proving point year for a player like Mythics and a player like F. Dot. I mean, you're playing alongside a bunch of players who have seen and done everything, and they've been like the up and comers over the last 2 years that have had good online stints, but maybe not the best land placements. And these are two rosters that they both find themselves on that are like no excuses. Like you're surrounded by incredible players. They need to show up this year if they want to have a chance at getting some league presence.
It's going to be a battle at these majors, and hopefully, again with Madrid, hopefully Challengers is there. It's not a different location. So, yeah, I mean, just a lot of good rosters, and we'll see what happens. And Blind Broker, Lunchtime, any comments on some of the Challenger rosters that you guys are seeing right now? You guys thinking?
On Team Gunless, is that Derek the Goat on the far right?
Yeah.
Or is that... Dude, he's insane.
Yeah.
I think is this not his first season being able to play?
This is his first one, yeah.
I'll never forget in the MW2 ranked, he solo queue dropped like 50 plus on my 4-stack. And I knew right then and there that he had a bright future ahead of him. So looking forward to seeing how Team Gunless does. Also, Gunless has always been super underrated as a player. Like he is one of the straightest shots in Call of Duty. So
yeah,
looking forward to seeing how that team does.
Yep. That's something that we haven't talked about. Like there's some rosters here we haven't talked about because there has been no announcement because I guess they're still looking for an org. But yeah, Gunless, Classic, Ryan, and Derek the Goat. You can't count them guys out as well. Mix of young and veterans. These guys can be cracked. And we talked about Face Black last time, like the different route that they chose to where they went with Encourage, Lurks, and Co. So yeah, it's gonna be cool to see these new young guns, take on some of these rosters that have been in challengers for a while, including like SGP. So yeah. That's pretty much all we have here. So if you guys want to have any closing comments, just let me know. And would you guys want to anything to add from anything that we've talked about so far?
It's going to be a freaking great year of Call of Duty. Every time Treyarch title comes out, we're going to look at this and be like, it's the greatest Call of Duty in a long time. But if we start seeing legacy maps from like Black Ops 2, Black Ops 4, heard rumors about Firing Range coming back into, like, give me all that. I'm pumped, man.
No.
We all got to start playing together.
I think like just everything BO6, like I'm just so excited for all of this. Once they get the maps down, like you said, they throw back some classics, we're in for a really good year.
Yeah. And I mean, to add to that one last time, like, it's good seeing these throwback maps back because I think this game is really suited for it. But, hopefully in the future, for future titles, we can make maps that are really good for competitive. So you don't have to keep harkening back on the classic maps just to make competitive good for everyone else. So yeah, be cool to see those maps because the maps right now, I played some 8s and stuff like that. I'm not a fan, but hopefully, they bring those things back. And that's it for us. I want to thank Lunchtime, Blind Broker, and Iholdshift for coming on board for this episode. Thank you guys so much. Best of luck to you, Lunchtime, with your streaming, the rank play, all that stuff, the content that you're bringing. I can't wait to see it. I've always been a big fan. Been watching for a while, so appreciate you coming on board, man, and talking. Blind Broker.
Appreciate you having me.
For sure, yeah, for sure. Blind Broker, we're working together, so like let's have a good year this year. And Iholdshift, one of my favorite casters of all time, man, literally, and also one of the best golfers I've ever seen.
Whoa,
yeah,
gas,
good
premium
gas.
diesel,
yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, can't wait to see you on the mic again, man, throughout this year. And that's it for us. If you guys can, please like, comment, subscribe, man, share this, and then yep, I'm out, guys. Peace out.
Thank you.